On this week's episode, baseball takes on the Citadel, softball takes on Arkansas, and the return of football for the annual spring game. This is Capital City Sports. What is up? I'm your host, Stan Smith. On Tuesday night, baseball took on the Citadel at Carolina Stadium, and Brian Principe has your coverage.
After a big win last night for South Carolina against Appalachian State, the Gamecocks came right back to Carolina Stadium to take on the Citadel. Clark Schmidt took the mound for the Gamecocks, and he looked to improve his record and the Gamecocks win streak here on the bump.
But the Citadel would strike first when an Austin Mapes leadoff homer to right, and followed up in the second with another dinger, this time to left. 2-0 for the Bulldogs in the second inning. Carolina would finally get the bats going in the bottom of the inning as DC Arendis would smoke this one past the second baseman and move Jordan Gore over the third as he slides in safely, but Arendis would get caught at second, and that would end the Gamecock threat. But in the third, Gene Cohn would line one to right field. That's a base hit, and Max Schrock doubles him down, same spot. South Carolina gets the first two men on. After a walk and a couple of outs, Jordan Gore pops one up. Appears to be a can of corn, but trouble in paradise as it falls in. South Carolina gets 3 runs on the bloop and leads the Bulldogs 3-2. And that wouldn't be it for South Carolina in the third as Madison Stokes now rockets one past the hole. That's a base hit. In comes around Gore to score, and the Gamecocks open up a 2-run lead over the Citadel, and Stokes would move over to second on the hit. Schmidt would settle down after getting the lead, striking out 2 Bulldogs, and late in this game, Marcus Mooney in the 7th would dive and make a beautiful play, finish it off with a throw, and that would be a huge play for South Carolina. Vogel comes in and gets the strikeout with the curveball, and Cody Mincy would come in the 8th. And he'd sit down the Bulldogs with a big strikeout here, paints the inside corner, and he'd get another Citadel batter, this time swinging. South Carolina would surrender the bases loaded in the 9th, but it would take a huge play by Kyle Morton as he ranges over towards the dugout. Looks like he's going to run out of space here, but he leaps into the dugout, makes the play, and South Carolina holds on to win at Carolina Stadium.
So the Gamecocks fend off the late Bulldog scare and win this one 4-2. South Carolina will travel out to Gainesville for an SEC matchup against the Gators this weekend. For Capital City Sports, I'm Brian Principe.
Over the weekend, softball had a 3-game series with the Arkansas Razorbacks. The game was suspended from Friday night because of a rain delay and resumed early Saturday afternoon. We have Chandler McAttack and John Dowdy on the coverage.
The Gamecocks came into the game at 27-15, having defeated USC Upstate in a shutout victory earlier in the week. Nikki Blue gets her first strikeout of the game by catching Stephanie Canfield looking. Blue retires the side by getting Sierra Bronke to line out to second baseman Lauren Masters. The Gamecocks get their first run of the game as Jordan Bizzle makes her way home on a very close play. After the rain delay, the Gamecocks switch to black, and Lauren Masters gets her first hit of the game on an RBI double that scored Kristen Stewart, giving the Gamecocks a 2-0 lead. Elaine Page then gets into the action by getting the first run of the 4th inning on this RBI infield single, increasing the Gamecock lead. And then on what should have been a sure out, Arkansas catcher Marley Harmon is unable to catch the throw, which allows 2 Gamecock players to score and gives Victoria Williams a 2 RBI double. Ainsley Art goes back to basics here and shows off her speed on this drag bunt single. Then Kalia Snare crushes a ball to the left field wall, getting her first hit of the game on a double. Lauren Masters continues her impressive season by getting this RBI single and bringing home Kristen Stewart. This flyout actually becomes a positive for the Gamecocks as it brings home Cameron Watts. The runs continue to pile up for the Gamecocks as they get this RBI single to end the game, giving the Gamecocks a 8-0 shutout victory and improving their record to 28-15 and their home record to 19-6. Now let's kick it to John.
Thanks, Chandler. Fifth-year senior Julie Surratt was honored before the second game, and her number 23 looks pretty good behind second base. She would get some run support early in the game from Kaylia Snare, who knocks one into right center, scoring Christian Struett. Then a throwing error behind the play scores Victoria Williams and moves Snare up to third, giving USC a 2-0 lead early in the first. Jordan Bizzle follows with a single over second base to score Snare, putting the Gamecocks up 3-0. Defense would take over from there as Surratt would go 5 1/3 innings without giving up a hit, before Stephanie Canfield would do some yard work and launch one out to right field, tying the game at 3. Surratt would walk one in the 6th inning before being taken out in favor of Nikki Blue. She's done a lot in her 5 years as a Gamecock, and the crowd gives her a nice hand. Top 7 now, the Razorbacks have a runner on second, and she scores on a well-placed line drive over third, putting Arkansas ahead 4-3, meaning USC would need some magic. And it started with Eleni Page singling through the left side, and followed by a line drive from Christian Struett that came this close to going out, but instead ends up on second with Page in front of her. Victoria Williams brings Page home on a fielder's choice, tying the game at 4 and giving us some free softball at Beckham Field. But a home run for Arkansas in the top of the 8th would do the Gamecocks in, and a ceremony line drive would end the game. Arkansas wins 5-4. Back to you, Stanford.
South Carolina's Pro Day was also in Williams-Brice Stadium, and this was the chance for all South Carolina football players to show NFL scouts what they're all about and increase their draft stock. And we have Nick Jones and Brian Principe on the coverage.
Pro Day is a great way for South Carolina alums to showcase their talents in preparation for the upcoming NFL draft. Hello, everyone. For Capital City Sports, I'm Brian Principe. Alongside me, as always, Nick Jones. Nick, gorgeous weather for Pro Day here today at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Absolutely. The scouts are out here keeping their eyes on Mike Davis, Dylan Thompson, JT Surratt. So we got a lot of players to check out with the 40-yard dash and all the skill position drills.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what happened here today at Williams-Brice Stadium.
So, Brian, really impressive performances today. So if you had to pick one player that stood out from the rest, who would you say that would be?
I definitely go with Demir Bird. He was very impressive in his 40 run. Definitely showed some grit and determination when running and some of the other skill positions. So I really like the way Demir Bird performed, and maybe a little bit of a draft boost. Who knows? I mean, don't know exactly what his draft stock is right now, but you never know. Definitely didn't hurt his stock. Definitely improved it today.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for Capital City Sports. We'll be back here on April the 11th for the Garnet and Black spring game. For Brian Principe, I'm Nick Jones for Capital City Sports.
Months away from Carolina's first football game against the North Carolina Tar Heels, South Carolina had their annual spring game on Saturday afternoon. We have Jennison Jenkins and Kristen Whitaker on the coverage from Williams-Brice Stadium.
The temperature is officially rising here at Williams-Brice Stadium, and that can only mean one thing for the South Carolina Gamecocks. The 2015 season is officially underway. I'm Kristen Whitaker.
And I'm Jennison Jenkins, here to give you the inside scoop on today's game and what to expect this fall.
So the biggest issue looking into next season is our quarterback situation. How do you think that's shaping out for the Gamecocks?
Well, I think the Gamecocks have three solid quarterbacks. We have Michael Scarnecchia and Perry Orth and Connor Mitch, all at the same level as each other, but I think there's one that trumps them all, and I'm really looking at Michael Scarnecchia. He's the only guy that I thought really stuck out today in today's game.
So what made Michael Scarnecchia stand out to you?
Well, he's really good on his feet. He can run the ball, and he has quick wit about himself. And when he gets in a bad situation, he knows when he needs to keep it and run it and when he needs to throw it away.
Absolutely. Do you think Perry Orth and Connor Mitch still have an equal chance?
Yes, of course. They are both very solid players. Perry had a few interceptions today, but that's easily fixed. He just needs to get the reads right and he'll be good to go.
Is there anything else offensively we should take a look at?
We should definitely take a look at Debo Samuel. He just transferred here, and he's going to be a huge threat in the next couple of years. He has his position locked down right now, and I think Spurrier has huge hopes for him.
As we take a look at the other side of the ball on defense, what is there to look forward to in next season?
Well, considering they didn't have a very good defensive season last year, we have a lot to look forward to this season. I'm sure they've been working really hard over the winter and in the weight room to get bigger and better on their defense. We had a couple interceptions today and really good pass coverage, and those sacks were really nice too. So I think we have a lot to look forward to this fall. We have Sky Moore coming back, so hopefully he can show something up in this coming season.
Out of all the plays today at the 2015 spring game, what was your favorite?
It had to be the Darius Rucker touchdown. He had nice hands, and I think Spurrier's looking for a new receiver.
Let's take it to the press conference to see what the coaches and players had to say today.
Well, yeah, Connor's doing fine, and all three of them. Like I said, statistically they're pretty similar. Michael Scarnecchia got to get the ball out of his hands. Sometimes he won't throw it if he doesn't think it's got a chance and so forth. But they all do some good things. They all do some good things. Lorenzo Nunez, he was here watching the scrimmage. He'll be ready to step in the competition as soon as he gets on campus in the summer. So we're still trying to see if one guy's clearly better than the rest.
Do you feel like you did enough this spring to kind of prove yourself or separate yourself from the other two guys, or do you think you still have some more work to do next fall?
Oh, I mean, I'm never satisfied. There's always room to improve, especially in this conference. I think I did well. Definitely made a lot of strides from last fall and last spring. So I just got to keep the momentum going in the summer.
Well, that's going to do it for us here today at Williams-Brice Stadium. The South Carolina Gamecocks will take on the North Carolina Tar Heels on September 3rd. I'm Kristen Whitaker.
And I'm Jennison Jenkins with Capital City Sports.
Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of Capital City Sports. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. From all of us here at Capital City Sports, I'm your host, Stan Smith. See you next week.